trash?
Mail.
Mail?
Yeah, the mail.
Yeah, I heard that too.
So that's when they said,
That happened this week?
last week.
Last
yeah.
week?
They, they thought they would get out of the trucks and help.
Sure. I'll tell you what, I don't walk anymore down my own driveway. I drive it down. Her car will go up and down with no problem. You don't walk up and down with no problem.
I can tell you this, in the last 15 years, this was the first time that I actually told residents what they didn't want to hear about ice and snow removal. Sorry.
Yeah.
They didn't like my answers, and I didn't care.
Oh, I see. I
Well,
see.
it is, I mean, it was, and we got, what's this, the guy's,
He doesn't hear.
I was getting ran bushes again.
my report, just go ahead and say, hey, we talked, what we can do,
Now it's off again.
we do to improve a little bit with regards to, because I will tell you, one thing that we didn't count on, or we've never had it since we've had contracted hauling has been, we haven't had a storm this big, nothing like that. And so they don't always hit the alleys. Right.
Hurry before it goes off again.
You got it.
Darn space heaters.
I knew it. Ice over, and you were not going to get
It overheated.
collected if you get yours picked up in the alley. So I told Tony, you just have to add those to the list. Period. Bigger problem is going to have is all these HOAs that they don't have a good service guy that's going to go in there and clean out, their thing.
You ready?
They're not getting the trash.
Here we go.
Right, that's out of our control.
Yeah.
Break that thing.
Regular meeting of Washington, Missouri City Council, Tuesday, January 21st, 2025, 7:05 p.m. Bear?
Here.
Briggs? Coulter?
Here.
Heidrich?
Here.
Holtmeyer?
Here.
Patke?
Here.
Reed?
Here.
Wessels?
Here.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I'd like to ask everyone to take a moment of silence, please, for the two ladies that lost their lives across the street last night. Thank you.
Approval of minutes from the Monday, January 6, 2025 council meeting. Bear?
Yes.
Coulter?
Yes.
Heidrich?
Aye.
Holtmeyer?
Aye.
Patke?
Why are we doing a roll call for that?
Yeah.
Have you read them? Yes.
Thank you.
Have you read them? Yes.
Reed?
Yes.
Wessels?
Aye.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Patke, second by Coulter to approve. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Approval and adjustment of agenda, including consent agenda. You have the change order number 1 for Third Street Overlay and Improvements Project, and we are tabling item 7H.
Make a motion.
Second.
Any discussion, you guys? Questions? All
Motion.
those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Sorry, who made the first?
I made the
Holtmeyer.
first.
Second?
And then Heidrich.
Thank you.
Hydridge.
Sorry, guys.
Priority items, Chief's Letter of Commendation, Officer Matt Cooper.
Wherever you want to be, wherever you're comfortable. There you go. Maybe you'll have to hold them up. There you go. Good evening, council, everyone else in attendance. Washington police officers understand the inherent risk associated with their profession. Oftentimes put themselves in harm's way in the performance of their duties. Sometimes that occurs outside of their official duties, as demonstrated by Officer Cooper recently. What I'd like to do is present him with a Chief's Letter of Commendation. In doing that, I'll read the letter, and then I think the mayor has a few words additionally. So, Chief's letter of commendation awarded to Officer Matt Cooper, DSN 266, for exceptional performance of duty during a critical incident. On the evening of December 22nd, 2024, Officer Matt Cooper was off duty with his family at Ted Drew's Frozen Custard in St. Louis when a car left the roadway and entered the crowd of patrons. The car struck several people and then attempted to flee the scene. Without hesitation, Officer Cooper responded to the crash site. Approaching the car from the front, he began instructing the driver to stop. While doing so, Officer Cooper pushed another pedestrian to safety from in front of the car, just as the driver suddenly accelerated, striking Officer Cooper. The impact threw Officer Cooper onto the hood of the car, where he was carried for a distance down the street before being thrown off. Officer Cooper sustained multiple serious injuries. Officer Cooper acted decisively, leaving a position of safety and disregarding his own well-being to intervene. His actions exemplify extraordinary bravery, demonstrating a selfless commitment to protecting strangers. Therefore, I hereby award Officer Cooper the Meritorious Service Medal. This medal is awarded for highly unusual accomplishments under adverse conditions involving a degree of hazard to the nominee's life or limb, or when the nominee's actions prevent injury or death to a third party. Awarded this 21st day of January in the year 2025, Chief James Armstrong. So in addition to the letter of commendation, we also award a medal, a Meritorious Service Medal. Here is that medal. If he was in uniform, we would pin that on, but he's obviously unable to do that, but at future dates. So, Come on to the mic. Maybe update on how you're doing.
First off, thank you. I got a card from all you guys, and I greatly appreciate that, so thank you. Thank you for this, unexpected. There's guys back there could tell you I'm usually not one to stumble over my words, but I'm very humbled by this, that's for sure. As far as an update, at least 6 more weeks of no weight bearing on my leg. And then I started some physical therapy this week, so I mean things are trending in the right direction. Just going to be a long road. The citizens of Washington have been amazing, and the outpour of support has been truly humbling, and not something I ever expected. So thank you as well, and that's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you, folks. It's great to see so many people here tonight, especially those of you in the back of the room. I've been thinking about what to say, how to express our citizens' gratitude for you, Matt. But quite frankly, after your incident, there's been a string of stuff going on. And I can't stop, but I need to say something about our response to the incidents that have gone on lately. The first is that snowstorm. Tony, you did a bang-up job, thank you, with leading parks, water, sewer, and streets in an all-out effort to clear our streets off. And I know there were some citizens, and quite a few of them, who called in upset because they had snow in their driveway. Well, I don't know what else I can do with the ice and the snow, folks, when we get that much snow and ice all mixed together. Tony's guys work tirelessly around the clock, and they're still going at it. So that was that was really something. And this weekend, our fire department had a really, really tough weekend. You know, I wondered why a person would do something like Matt. I'm sure it was, you didn't even think about it. You just do it. Well, the firemen last night who went into that burning building, or 2 nights ago, it was the same reaction. They didn't even think about it. They just went into the building with no water going. That's the highest risk a fireman can have. And what makes a person do that? And I think it's a combination of factors. I think it's an attitude, a esprit de corps, if you will, that's set by Jim for the fire department, Tim Frankenberg, or pardon me, for the police department, Tim, yes, Tim Frankenberg for the fire department, but our other employees who work for the city in less point of the spear jobs, so to speak, they did a dynamite job also, and I can't not thank all of our employees, and it's great to see that we have an attitude of service throughout the entire city employee staff. So, thank you. I appreciate it.
Mayor's presentations, appointments and reappointments, police department appointment.
Craig, would you come up, please? Good evening, council. I have a fine young man to present to you this evening. I can say that because he's actually a little bit younger than me, so not much. This is Craig Smith. I'd like to introduce him to be appointed as a full-time police officer. He comes with quite a bit of experience, about 27 years worth, in investigations, leadership roles, various other, the list goes on. We did a full background like we normally do, and also interview process, and I recommend him for appointment.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Patke, second by, who was it? Hydrich? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Welcome to Washington.
Welcome aboard. Thank you.
Welcome on, young to me, buddy. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Urban Forestry Council appointment.
Your council members, I hear with.
Now you need this one.
Wow, wrong one.
You're
Thank
on
you.
the police.
We're done with that one. Herewith submit for your approval the following for appointment to the Urban Forestry Council. Matt Sodi, term ending May of 2026. I think Matt is here in the audience. Welcome, Matt. Any questions we might want to ask, guys, of Matt?
Who's Urban Forestry? Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion by Patke, second by Briggs. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. Welcome, Matt.
Mayor, could I ask, Matt, are you from the Soda family up in New Haven that was so involved with all the youth camps and everything for those years?
Yes, he is.
All right, good for you, good for you.
Joe Sodi.
Public hearings, special use permit, Town and Country Industrial Park, Lot 17. The applicant has withdrawn his request for the special use permit, so we just need to accept it into the minutes.
So moved.
Motion by Patke, second by Bear to approve. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Citizens' comments?
Okay, lots of citizens out here. If you would like to address the council,
Anything not on the agenda.
that's correct. Anything not on the agenda, please come up and state your name and your address, please.
I'm waiting for something
Okay.
else.
Thank you.
Report of department heads, 2024 building report.
Within your packet, you've got the annual building report that our building department generates. We just go ahead and need you to accept that into the minutes unless you have any questions. Blake is here as well if you have any questions.
If not, I'll make a motion.
Second.
Hydrogen.
Motion by Hydrich, second by Patke to accept into the minutes the 2024 building report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Ordinances and resolutions, an ordinance repealing ordinance 22-13471 and enacting lieu thereof, an ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of a contract by and between the city of Washington, Missouri and downtown Washington, Inc.
Pat- Go ahead.
Introduced by
Holtmeyer.
Patke.
Holtmeyer.
Holtmeyer, second by Patke.
Just need an introduction.
Doesn't need a second.
Introduced by Holtmeyer.
The, within your packet, you've got your annual contract that we have with Downtown Washington, Inc. Our goal over the next couple of budgets was to increase the amount for them. This has been based off of, information we've received from the Missouri Main Street Program, and their accreditation that they've acquired over years. So we would like to get them up to 50,000 by next year. So we did an incremental, and we did budget for this increase. It was 35,000 last year, and it's increased to 42,500 this year. And like I said, that amount has been budgeted. And later on within your agenda, Tyler's here along with his board members, and they'll be giving you a report, their annual report that they provide.
Questions or discussions?
We should wait till after the report to approve this, but we'll go ahead.
I move we approve.
We need,
already been
we need
introduced.
it.
Roll call, second reading.
Second reading.
An ordinance repealing ordinance 22-13471 and enacting lieu thereof, an ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of a contract by and between the city of Washington, Missouri and downtown Washington, Inc. Holtmeyer,
Aye.
Reed,
Yes.
Bear,
Yes.
Patke,
Yes.
Wessels,
Aye.
Coulter,
Yes.
Hydrich,
Aye.
Briggs.
Yes.
By your vote, ordinance 7A passes. B, please.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the acceptance of a proposal by and between the city of Washington, Missouri and Gerald Mechanical Contractors for the purchase of an outdoor air unit for the public safety building.
Hydrich.
Introduced by Hydrich.
Good evening, council. In your packet tonight before you is the replacement unit for the Addison unit, the public safety building. The unit's original to the public safety building, so 2006, almost 20 years old. We've had a lot of problems with it since I've been here, and parts are becoming much harder to find. And due to the costly repairs and the parts becoming harder to find, we budgeted for a replacement this fiscal year. So we reached out, got an estimate on replacement cost, and it comes in under budget. The budget was $216,000. It came in at $175,89. And so we're looking to move forward with this replacement. There's a lead time of 16 weeks for the unit to get here, which would put us in approximately May. And they think that they should be able to get this replaced without disrupting functions over there. Questions?
Wayne, remind me, it's tips. I know we ran
The
through the.
cooperative purchasing agreement,
Yeah,
yes.
so, does everybody have access to that? It's
You
on the
have to
budget, that's
pay-
great, but does a local guy know that we're doing this? Does he get the chance to bid on it? How does that work?
It works so it's they take, Darren, you can help me out here. They take, these contractors pay into it, and then their proposal is, I guess, put under a microscope, if you will, or reviewed by a third party to come up with, to make sure that they're guaranteeing the lowest price for their, it sometimes includes labor, sometimes it includes materials, sometimes it includes both.
So
So
we
we've
don't,
used it a number of times for different
we don't
purposes here.
necessarily go out to bid on this.
We don't have to, as part of your purchasing policy that we've enacted in the past, if you have a cooperative agreement, you have a bid, or you have a state bid or something, it's already been vetted through that process. And so you're able to go ahead and just do that and act quickly without having to go through a formal bidding process. Because sometimes it depends. You may go through a formal bidding process and maybe only get local, but you don't get anything from outside the state. So kind of but in order to get the best price, typically this is what we've been able to go ahead and utilize.
So the local contractor would have to be a part of this.
That is correct. They would have to be a part of that to go ahead and put their bid in on that.
And the positive with this, Al, that Gerald's been doing a lot of the maintenance here for 4 or 5 years now or better, so they're pretty familiar too, so.
Yep. Just question, thank you.
Yeah.
Further discussion, you guys? Second reading.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the acceptance of a proposal by and between the City of Washington, Missouri and Gerald Mechanical Contractors for the purchase of an outdoor air unit for the Public Safety Building. Holtmeyer.
Aye.
Reed.
Yes.
Barrett.
Yes.
Packey.
Yes.
Wessels.
Aye.
Coulter.
Yes.
Heidrich.
Aye.
Briggs.
Yes.
By your vote, ordinance 7B passes. C, please.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the acceptance of a proposal by and between the City of Washington, Missouri and Western Specialty Contractors for the purchase of a rubber roof overlayment for City Hall.
Pat Key.
Introduced by Patke.
Yes, so this one will take a little longer to explain, because it's kind of a combination of a couple projects. So in August of last year, you guys approved the replacement of the HVAC unit right above us here on this, there's a flat roof above us here. After we started looking at that, we talked to Gerald Mechanical, who's replacing that, and they said, well, we've had lots of roof leaks with this flat roof over us. If you walk outside the door, you'll see one right now where the ceiling tile's about ready to come down. It's been patched and patched, I would say probably 4 or 5 times since I've been here. And it's original to this renovation, the council chambers, so 1996. So we've gotten our fair use out of it, almost 30 years out of the rubber roof. So we're trying to combine the roof project with a HVAC project, and we need the old unit, the roof unit, the HVAC unit needs to be removed. They need to come in and put in the new roof, and then the new unit needs to be set back in place on top of the new rubber roof. And so what we're looking to do, we're working with Gerald with the roofing company. We'll have to bring in a crane, Gerald supplied us with a bid for a crane from St. Louis, and we were able to get one much cheaper here locally. So a crane would come in, remove the unit, Western would install the new roof, and then the crane would come back in and place the new unit on the roof, and Gerald would set everything into place then. And so the roof, we did budget for this in this fiscal year budget. It came in under budget. The budget was $60,000. It came in at $32,960. And then in relation to this rubber roof, there's 2 more rubber roofs on this building. One, as you go upstairs above the employee and public stairwell, and then another one on top of that, up on, I guess, above the 3rd floor where the tile roof is. Those 2 roofs also need to be replaced. The one on top of the tile roof was blown off in 2015, and I think it's still leaking. In fact, it was leaking on Thursday or Friday this week. It was fixed, but I think on the cheap. Regardless, it's that one and the one below it, the middle one, are very old and need to be replaced. But the tile roof also needs to be replaced. I've had a couple people look at it, and there's lots of tiles that are cracked up there. That's a bigger project within itself that we budgeted for in a future year. But the rubber roofing company looked at those 2 roofs also and said, don't replace these 2 roofs until you replace that tile roof, because they'll get damaged when they take the tile roof off, and when they're doing the work on the tile roof, the new rubber roofs would get damaged. So my goal is to budget for those 2 rubber roofs in conjunction with the tile roof, hopefully next year, possibly next year.
My question is, when you pick that unit up, you're gonna pick it up and put it right back, correct?
To take it off,
Yeah.
they'll pick it up, take it off, then the roofing company will come in, do the roof, and
So
then
it's gonna hit, so it's going to the ground.
Yeah.
And then they're gonna wonder why they couldn't coordinate that a little better and do just that second where the roofers, where the unit's at, pick the unit up, do what they gotta do, set it back down, and then they can continue on. I mean, to me,
yeah, I don't know. I mean, we're saving, by finding a local crane operator, we saved $8,100. Gerald had $8,100 figured in, but it was a company out of St. Louis that, they
Right.
figured 8 hours for the crane, a
right,
minimum of 8 hours. And so we were able to get a local company to come in, and they'll do 2 trips. They'll come in, do it,
right.
and come back and do it.
It's possible to do it in one.
Just by looking at it, Councilman Reed, I looked today with Wayne, and there's actually a bump system or like a curb that it sets on, and it may have to be changed as that rubber roof is put over top of that curb system also. I where
Can't
that
imagine
HVAC system has
Use
to
the
sit
same
on.
curb.
They'll use the same,
They use
they're
the
gonna
same
use the
curb.
same curb. I'm just saying redo the curb.
But I'm saying they're gonna pull it off, put the new roof on, put the new system back on top. I don't know what else you want to do in a day's time.
How long does it take to put that rubber roof on there? You only gotta do the area around the curb. You don't have to do the whole roof.
Yeah, I can check on it. I can
That's
definitely-
just
it's
a
worth checking on
question.
it, Yeah.
Seen it done.
Other questions or discussions?
Splice all the rest of it in. You want to splice it in anyhow.
Go ahead, Sharon.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the acceptance of a proposal by and between the City of Washington, Missouri and Western Specialty Contractors for the purchase of a rubber roof overlayment for City Hall. Holtmeyer,
Aye.
Reed,
Yes.
Bear,
Yes.
Patke,
Yes.
Wessels,
Aye.
Coulter,
Yes.
Hydrich,
Aye.
Briggs.
Yes. By your vote, ordinance 7C passes. D, please.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the exception of an agreement by, execution of an agreement by and between the City of Washington, Missouri and Lawlor Corporation for the construction of Fire Station 1.
Patke.
Introduced by Patke.
And council, in your packet is a letter that confirms the discussion that was had last month for moving forward with Lawler for the fire station and awarding that contract to them.
Questions? Discussion? Okay, second reading, Sherry.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of an agreement by and between the City of Washington, Missouri and Lawlor Corporation for the construction of Fire Station 1. Holtmeyer,
Aye.
Reed,
Yes.
Bear,
Yes.
Patke,
Yes.
Wessels,
Aye.
Coulter,
Yes.
Hydrich,
Aye.
Briggs.
Yes.
By your vote, ordinance 7D passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Get her done.
Chief Scornia, you could have done that. I don't get it.
You put on a tie and everything, I noticed. You know? Yeah, I know.
Always a bridesmaid.
7E, please.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of a lease by and between the City of Washington, Missouri and the Washington, Missouri KC Memorial Association.
Patke.
Introduced by Patke.
So within your packet is the ordinance for, to go ahead and enter into a new 5-year lease with the Knights of Columbus for a new location for our senior center. I will just give a quick brief history for those that came to the meeting tonight. The city's lease with the Elks for the senior center had expired late summer, early fall, and we began some discussions with them about a possibility of a new lease. As we were doing so, we also searched to see if there was another site that would be available that the city could go ahead and consider. And we did, and we talked to the Knights of Columbus, and then through those discussions, this is what we've provided for you. Our attorneys reviewed the lease with the Knights of Columbus, and you have that within your packet. You also have within, on your thing, and I think this was sent to you middle part of last week, is a comparison of the two facilities. The Elks did come back with a second proposal for you to consider, and we've got those those comparisons with you on this double-sided sheet. The first on the top page is the first-year comparison, but if you look, there's also a 5-year lease comparison on the back side of that. The biggest thing that you'll notice with the new proposal from the Elks is that although the lease itself is less than what the Knights of Columbus are proposing for rent, the utilities are included with the Knights of Columbus proposal. And there is quite a bit of difference with regards to that. You can see in 23-24, you see the number that the city paid in utilities for the senior center at that location, and it was $17,177. There was also the heating bill that was $2,736. So, and then you do have some maintenance hours that Wayne has calculated with regards to that. The other things that I will show you on that sheet are the fact you have sublease income that the city did utilize or was able to go ahead and sublease the area with the Elks. We brought in about approximately $3,000 over the past year. And then the other thing to go ahead and consider that's on the Knights of Columbus side is the hall rental that is also included with that. The city has a once-a-year employee appreciation dinner, and that is included with that we get that once a year. We get the hall rental on I guess it's the second Friday, I think, of every January. So that kind of gives you what those totals are. Even with those that sublease income and that hall rental value is. And you can see, based on that, even with the second proposal that we had from the Elks, you have $48,463 in the first year, and the Knights of Columbus would be $33,200. So there's the difference in what you have. And basically, those same numbers were just brought up over a 5-year period on the back side of that sheet. And I think, Charles has got that up above on the top part, or I'm sorry, on the overhead. So that's all I have, unless you have questions. I do know that we have some representatives of the Knights of Columbus that would like to address the council on the new lease, and but we have some others, I think, too, that may want to go ahead and speak.
Could you put up that 5-year too, Charles?
Yeah. Here, the 5 years on the back.
Yeah, I got it. Okay.
Oh, you wanted them to see it, okay, yeah.
You want me to do the second reading?
Not yet.
Good evening, everyone. Jacob Dobbs, representing the Knights of Columbus here in Washington. The only thing I really have to say to you all is, number one, thank you from the city staff standpoint. Both Mr. Lamb and Mr. Dunker have done a wonderful job working through this process with us, which has, been going on for quite some time. The Knights of Columbus are excited to have the senior center in our facility. We very much have a campus-like setting. We have been in very preliminary discussions with the high school, which is a stone's throw down the hill, that have some community service requirements that we obviously would be open to getting them involved with both the Knights of Columbus as well as the senior center. Again, thank you all for the opportunity to take over the facility. I think we've got a great piece of property for them, and we look forward to the opportunity to do so. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thanks, Jake.
Thank you, Jake.
The only other thing I will, if there's any questions just for the general public, if they wonder why we're not looking at a longer than a 5-year term. The city is looking at the proposal, I think, and we've asked our consultants as a part of our Parks Master Plan to go ahead and take a look at the potential for an updated facility for the senior center within our long-range plans. And they've put together a proposal that I think there's going to be some comments on the 30th of this month at a public workshop. But the goal is for a new facility that would be out there at the auditorium within the campus of what we have currently. As most of the council knows, maybe not the general public, our parks offices are going to also be eventually located there on the upper level of the old pool house. That's the goal, to go ahead and get that renovated and get them moved out there. But everything would be on a central campus out there for our park system. But there are plans to go ahead and see what we can do, whether that's an addition onto that auditorium for a new facility. That's all still in the works to be decided or whatever, but that's for a future possible capital improvement sales tax item that the city may want to go ahead and pursue. But that is the end goal, and that's the reason why we do not have this lease any longer than a 5-year term. So this would be a temporary until we're able to go ahead and figure out what we want to do long-term.
Good evening, Council. My name is Paul Henderson on behalf of the Elks Lodge. We came and spoke a couple weeks ago. We did provide a revised bid as requested. You did lay it out very well there. Obviously, we brought our numbers in where we have them. We feel that there's some intangibles that are involved in this that, just aren't shown on paper. One of them that comes to mind is what Darren just said, in moving the plans to move the facility in 5 years. My thought is, if you're going to move them in 5 years, why move them now? The numbers that we gave you are within the budget of the city already. These are numbers that have been available before. There's the intangibles of the location, the use of the park system in our parking lot, things like that. I just think there's some things there that still are value to the city as it relates to keeping the senior center at its current location. And again, our goal at the 5-year mark was to continue the potential of keeping the senior center there longer than 5 years. I think we can make an argument that it's a good location. We can make some arguments, pros and cons to moving them back into the auditorium campus as suggested. We just really think it's a good opportunity for them to stay with us and keep the location we have. I don't really have a lot of other comments on that other than the fact that if you haven't walked the facility that's there, if you haven't compared the two facilities, if you haven't reached out to the seniors and actually gone down and talked to them about using the facility, I can't really see where you can vote yes on this and approve this ordinance without actually having that conversation with them first. You're having conversations with the Elks, you're having conversations with the KCs, but I question whether or not we've had conversations with the actual seniors that use the facility. And I think they're getting lost in that. So I encourage you either to table this ordinance or vote no, and let's have an opportunity to communicate that once again. And again, I'm available for questions as well.
Thank you, Paul.
Okay. Just, if the ordinance goes through, I just want the organization, the KCs, know that we're 100% behind the KCs, the Elks. We just want the seniors taken care of. So that's our goal. That's why we brought our numbers down, just to kind of put our money where our mouth is. We want them to stay. So, thank you.
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks, Paul.
My name is Dwayne Ware, and I'm a member of the Washington Senior Center Support Committee. And my main question with this move that you're proposing, I understand there's budget, but how much square footage is the senior center going to lose making this move? We have quite a few books. We have a large library. We have an exercise room. We have a pool table. We have an art room. We have a computer room. We have room enough for probably at least 150 people to sit down to eat. How much room are we going to lose if you make this move? Thank you.
Excuse me, what's your address, sir?
I'm sorry, 813 West 7th.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
My name is Debbie Stiegel, and I'm the administrator at the center here in town. From Aging Ahead, which is the organization that is the senior center, we're concerned about the amount of services that we would be able to provide to the community. Because of what we do Meals on Wheels, we have participants that come in and eat. From what I'm understanding, the kitchen facility is not quite up to the standards that we're, not necessarily the standards, but what we need to provide the services in Washington. Does the KC have the aspects or the specifics of the kitchen? That's a main concern, and the parking for the participants. Because even though we don't necessarily have, we do about 125 hot meals a day between home deliveries and participants. But we have several classes. People come into the facility, they may not stay for lunch, but they're still there utilizing our services. Is the KC Hall going to be able to accommodate the kitchen aspect of it in the different areas, is my concern.
Are these kitchen services just for Washington residents?
We do some of the surrounding areas like Krakow, a little bit further out into the areas, but anybody that lives anywhere can use the facility, come in, partake in the classes, have lunch. It doesn't matter where you live.
But the Meals on Wheels are distributed in Washington. We were under the impression that they go to Union, New Haven,
No,
the rest
that's
of
a
Franklin
different
County.
senior center. Union does their own home deliveries. We do, we've actually switched over our organization as a whole, the outlying areas. We have another company that's distributing frozen meals to those. We do right here in city limits, and like I said, as far as our own deliveries, probably Krakow's about as far as we go that way. But we have outsourced to another company that delivers frozen meals to like New Haven, Berger, and further out into the areas.
But those frozen meals are made?
No, we actually, it's Trio, they come out, the company's called Trio, it's a national company. They make and package and deliver the frozen meals themselves. It's just done through our organization for the clients. But we also, the frozen meals that we ourselves deliver is roughly about 50 cases a week. A small reach-in, we have right now at the Elks, we have a walk-in freezer, a walk-in cooler, and you're talking about having enough food and all these frozen meals. Your reach-in refrigeration is just very difficult to work around.
And Debbie, again, are you with Aging Ahead or are you with the
Aging Ahead,
You're
yes,
with
I'm-
Aging Ahead?
Yes.
We also have some other representatives from
Yeah.
Aging Ahead that are here with them.
Our
And Aging
CEO
Ahead, so you have facility, you also control the facility in Union also, is that right?
No.
Aging Ahead does not.
Aging Ahead has 16 different senior centers in 4 counties. We're part of Aging Ahead.
So the Washington, I guess the facilities at the Elks that the city paid for 20 years ago or whatever the Elks have there,
The-
Aging Ahead is using those walk-in coolers now.
Yes, my understanding is that the city has had the lease with the Elks, and Aging Ahead pays the city rent for the use of the facility Monday through Friday, 7 to 3. Then it's the city's evenings and weekends.
And we've been in conversation with them and
We have.
no avail.
Right. Right now you currently receive $12,000 that goes towards the program, i.e. rent that you
From Aging
that you
Ahead,
pay now
yes.
from Aging Ahead. And that has been, I think, unchanged since 2009. So when we were under initial discussions with the Elks, one of the things we looked at was to see if there was an increase that we could get from Aging Ahead to offset any increase in rent that we would have. And we were told that no, that's not available, that $12,000 is all that they can provide.
Right, we're actually operating at a 2019 funding level.
Other questions or comments, guys? Thank you, Debbie.
No, thank you.
Anyone else?
Can the, maybe this might be Casey, whatever, but the question about the kitchen there, will the kitchen be able to handle the meals we need for?
The answer is yes, and we've had Aging Ahead look at that. They can go ahead and handle for the participants, the level of participation that you currently have today, yes, they can.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Hi, my name's Jonette Ware, and I am a member down at the senior center. I'm a volunteer, and we have a very large, nice facility. I would like to invite any of you to come down any day, come play bingo with us. Anyway, is the KC big enough to have exercise class, bingo, card players, pool tables, all going on at the same time? Plus 60 people sitting there for lunch. We have a library that is just out of this world for a small facility like we are. I cannot imagine. I've only been in the KC area twice in my life, but I can't imagine what we have fitting in there and being the nice open space where we could fit as many people as what we have now. If you come in, you can see Debbie and Dwayne do a magnificent job of decorating the place. We have all the holidays up. At the KC Hall, I can't imagine where we could leave that up year-round. And it's just an open, nice place for everybody to come. And if the KC Hall is what I'm thinking of, it's kind of a shoved in the basement sort of area. And I just can't imagine, and the parking at the KC doesn't seem to be as good as we have there. But I can only speak on, the 2 times I've been at the KC Hall. So I would like to invite all you guys to come in and see what we have going on. And like you said, why move to the KC Hall for 5 years and then move us again? That just kind of seems counterintuitive to everything. And my address is the same as his. 813 West 7th.
Thank you, Jonette.
I guess I would just like to comment to that. It's not about putting you in the basement somewhere. That's not the case at all. I would say I've been to both. I've been to the basement of the Elks, around the Elks, been to the KC Hall many times. I think the parking lot at the KC Hall lower level would be better than the Elks. It's all completely one level and no step to get in, nothing. It goes walk right into the door there. So parking, I think, would actually be better. Maybe the Elks might disagree with that, but I don't think there's no detriment there at all. And again, I can't speak for every council member, but it was never our intention to change you just because we want to throw you in a basement. That's not the case. But we do have a fiduciary duty as council members to spend taxpayers' money wisely. And when we look at those numbers, and I know we look at the comparison now, but when we first started this discussion, the Elks number was going to be twice that. The rent was going to go twice. And when we looked at it, and city administrator went to the KCs, and they gave an offer, then and only then did the Elks come back and say, we would counter that and go back to less, to the numbers you're looking here. And at that time, we're using the KCs just to negotiate a deal with the Elks, in my opinion. So back to my point, we're not putting the senior center in the basement of the KCs because we don't like you. That's not the case. And like Mr. Lamb said earlier, the overall plan is to make a senior center itself. And what we would love to have, what I would love to see you have, is help us promote the capital improvement sales tax plan in 2026 and put that senior center on the city auditorium campus and help us sell that to the voters that that's what we want. Just help us do that and make the right place for you.
Can you go to the,
You're welcome to come up. Yeah, but
I have a real big problem with just hearing about your plan to put the senior center in the auditorium basement.
That's not the plan, sir.
No, well, you were talking about expanding it. Right now, what's out there is no place for our seniors to park, period.
I agree with you 100%. And the new plan will have a parking lot, a new facility on the campus of the auditorium, not the basement of the auditorium. That was where it was before. Some people have came, and I've had conversation with those. Don't put us back in the basement of the auditorium. That's not the case. I want to reiterate the fact, it's not the basement of the auditorium.
Okay.
It'll be a complete renovation, and I'm talking, we're going to make it nice. Help us sell the capital improvement sales tax and promote that we make it your own spot. And in that case, we're using the Elks or the KCs for 5 years.
I would follow up with, there's a meeting on January 30th of this month that's going to be out there at the auditorium, actually, speaking of which. And so that's not just the only thing. It's not just about a future home of the senior center. It's about all of our parks facilities and about looking at that. But that's part of it, and that's where we want that input. We want to go ahead and provide that so that we can do something. And also, I think what the city is looking at doing, we have facilities. There's not really a reason for us to go ahead and have to lease property from an outside entity for something that we can provide ourselves. We're not equipped right now to provide you with something as nice as what we'd like, but I think that's what we're talking about, is a future plan to go ahead and do that.
Yeah, it's, no offense, but it really feels like, to most of us, that you are shoving us in a basement and ignoring us. I'm sorry.
Excuse me, sir,
That's-
but you were
that's
just
what
in
it
a, you
feels
were
like.
just as much in a basement at the Elks as you're gonna be in a basement of a KC Hall. It's, you have less of a basement at the KC Hall, you have more visual windows. It's gonna be more lighted.
But it's, and I'm not real familiar with Casey Hall, I'll admit that. But from what's visible from outside, it's one big, long room, that's it. One big, long room, period.
Does anyone, Wayne, would you, this space area, do we have a comparison of the square footage?
The KC's is about 300 capacity, is what I've been told. Square footage, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, Elks is about 10,000, and
I think so.
Knights of Columbus was 6,500.
Mm-hmm. It is smaller
smaller.
space, so there is, but like I said, for the price, that's what we were looking at with regards to what you can go ahead and fit.
I'd just like to make a couple points of clarification. There is no steps going into the lower level of the Elks. It's very similar to what the KC would have to offer. Secondly, in regards to the numbers changing, when this started, this was not a bidding process. We were asked to come in and offer numbers for the city, the opportunity to go to Aging Ahead and so forth, to have a negotiation. Only after those numbers were outside the window of what the city was seeking did they seek outside another location. So it kind of went from us having a discussion about negotiating a new a 5-year lease to a bidding process, which we did not realize that's what we were doing initially. We thought we were giving the city the information they needed to negotiate with Aging Ahead, et cetera, and we thought we were coming back and having those negotiations after the fact. We found out a couple months after that initial conversation that this decision was made to create the ordinance in an agreement with the KC Hall. So it was not quite a bidding process initially. So our second numbers come in to prove the point that we were not looking to, make out on the city, on using the seniors as our leverage. It was, what we thought we were doing was giving the city what they needed to negotiate. And again, our numbers reflect our best ability to be fiscally responsible for our organization and yet still try to take care of the seniors. And I'll go back to the conversation of my opinion personally would be if you're planning on doing the campus out at the auditorium, let them stay where they're at. They obviously love where they're at. KC's will do a great job taking care of them, I'm sure. But let's keep them here. I still like the opportunity to have that conversation in a few years to compare what they have now to what you're offering them. Maybe even if it is a lease agreement instead of an ownership agreement, it may still be the best place for them. We got a great facility for them. KC's will do a great job. But again, it just didn't quite start out the way we thought it was. So now we're in a bidding competition for it, and we just like them to stay. But just wanted to clarify those 2 points. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just one more. Good evening. I'm Nancy Ranieri. It's 2901 Graham Road, Washington. I'm also on the support committee at the Senior Center. I would just like to reiterate the invitation for you all to come and maybe join us for lunch, visit us, bring the information, if it's possible, from the rec program that's being presented on the 30th or at least a portion of it, to the seniors. Many of us can't get out at night. Many of the people that participate in the daytime will not be able to attend that to see what you're offering. So if you could bring at least that portion of that general plan to the senior center, that would be terrific. And then we'll get all the seniors on board and we'll support that tax. But without understanding what the process is, and as I said, there's so few of us out of the normal 80 people that attend the senior center, they would like to have that information as well, so.
We can make that available for you. Thank you.
You guys have been to your senior center before. It's a great place. It really is. But I've seen the plans. And they, even though they are preliminary, they're a lot better than the KSCs and the Elks combined. And so I will personally bring you those plans when I can. Folks, we don't want to put you in the dungeon. I've heard, the old facility on the bottom of the auditorium called that. And quite frankly, it needs lots of help now. But we're going to get that place some help, and we're going to put you in a place where you don't have to get out of your car to climb a bunch of stairs. There may be one step at the very most. I don't want to hold myself to it, but there has to be an elevator in the new facility. Our consultants that have designed many facilities like this around the area, they know what they're doing. We've seen the plans, and it's exciting. I can't wait to show you all those plans, because we do need your help. Thank you.
Wayne, do we have the actual square footage for each building? It's 10,000 and 6,500?
I believe that's
Yep,
very close, yeah.
that's very close.
Which comes out about the same over the time for the two different quotes.
Right.
Comes out about the same.
Right.
I don't know how much storage space they're talking about when they're talking about walk-in freezers and walk-in refrigerators downstairs there. I know they got them upstairs at the KC Hall, but I don't know what they have downstairs. That's definitely a problem. That's definitely something they need.
Well, and technically, I think we have the walk-in downstairs. I think that's actually.
The walk-in cooler itself is basically 12 by 7, and the walk-in freezer is 7 by 7.
Yeah, so what equipment is ours?
There's a list, there's a whole asset list that we've got marked. I don't have that list for you right here with me, but I mean, we can get that for you.
I mean, some of that equipment is coming.
Yeah, it's either the city's equipment. I don't think
Right.
any of the kitchen equipment is the Elks. I think it's either the city's or Aging Ahead's, other than the built-in walk-in cooler and the walk-in freezer.
Other questions or discussions, guys? Second reading.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of a lease by and between the City of Washington, Missouri and the Washington, Missouri KC Memorial Association. Holtmeyer?
Aye.
Reed?
No.
Fair?
No.
Patke?
Yes.
Wessels?
Aye.
Coulter?
No.
Heidrich?
Aye.
Briggs?
No.
It's tied.
It's tied. That means I got to vote, folks. And I'm going to vote to approve the contract.
Next one.
Next one.
F, please.
An ordinance amending the 2025 budget for the period of October 1, 2024 through September 30th, 2025 for the City of Washington, Missouri.
Holtmar.
Introduced by Holtmeyer.
Good evening. In your packet is the budget amendment for fiscal year 2025. And what that is some of the contracts really that we did not finish in the 2024 fiscal year. So, and they weren't rebudgeted in the 25 fiscal year. So this is how we have them rebudgeted in the 25 fiscal year by doing this budget amendment.
Tammy,
Yeah.
question, as always. Under the revenues, you have, and I'm looking at capital improvement sales tax and transportation sales tax. Wouldn't that be the same?
Well, I have to tell you, on the capital improvements, sales tax, the budget, we had a budget for, I had to do a budget amendment. We did a budget amendment for the CMT for the airport, and it was accidentally hit 261 instead of 260. 261 is the transportation, and it should have hit 260. So I had to move it. So what this does, it just moves it from 261 to 260. It was I had to move the revenue and the expenditure
Okay.
from Fund 261 and put it to 260. So that's why you see the capital improvement sales tax having a positive, and then there was a lease with the fire truck where the department was going to pay for part of it, and so that was another addition for that.
I'm talking informationally, that's, right now, the original budget. Since they're both the same rate,
Oh,
I don't understand why the one is so much higher than the other.
I'm sorry, it's not just the rate. The thing is, whenever we budget for capital improvements or the transportation tax, we have a lot of grants that we have that's going to
so
be
you have
the
that different-
grant
okay.
revenue.
All right.
So
You
depending
probably
on the
have a lot-
projects,
Transportation more
we
so.
can have a lot more projects for
Thank
highways
you.
and
Thank
things.
Other questions or discussions, you guys? Thank you, Tammy. Second reading, please.
An ordinance amending the 2025 budget for the period of October 1, 2024 through September 30th, 2025 for the city of Washington, Missouri. Holtmeyer?
Aye.
Reed?
Yes.
Bear?
Yes.
Patke?
Yes.
Wessels?
Aye.
Coulter?
Yes.
Heidrich?
Aye.
Briggs?
Yes.
By your vote, ordinance 7F passes. G, please.
An ordinance approving a boundary adjustment for Glenview Estates Plat 2 in the city of Washington, Franklin County, Missouri.
Holtmeyer.
Introduced by Holtmeyer.
Good evening, council. This is a boundary adjustment, as you can see off of Echo Camp Court there. They're essentially taking 3 lots, so you can see the red lines are what are being removed. So you kind of have the 3 previous lots, and then that blue line there in the middle of the street is where they're moving the one boundary line to create 2 lots, Lot 1, Lot 2, as you can see there. So
Where are we at here? I'm sorry.
This is down there behind,
Dairy Queen, Beaker Road.
yeah, behind the motel down there and right off of Beaker Road,
Where's Lot 3? You said there's 3?
Yeah, here.
where you get your ice cream, Dwayne, when you go through the drive-through. There you go.
Don't want to miss the ice cream.
I know, that's right.
So
Try to-
this was an original lot, and then all of this to the red line here was a lot, and then this down here was a lot.
Okay, all right. So
We're
that lot-
eliminating those
it's not
2.
marked, but Lot 3 is the
Now-
one
now
on the
you'll
west
just
side
have
there?
lot 1
Yeah.
here is all of this to the, the roadway, and then
All right.
this is.
So
lot-
Echo Camp Court is what the city maintains up to that point where those 2 lots, these 2 proposed lots are combined. The rest of that, as you go up further north, is all within a public access easement. Those are
Private
not,
streets, private utilities,
those are
all that.
private.
Other discussions or questions, guys?
It seems a strange way to divide this thing.
This has been a strange development probably as far as lots on paper for years, as far as that goes. As you can see, the existing lots that were on there, you got one that even goes through, one of the buildings. So
Yeah.
this does clean it up quite a bit and make it, just like you said, 3 lots into 2 lots, and they both have access to Echo Camp Court.
All right, all right.
You okay? Okay. Second reading, please.
An ordinance approving a boundary adjustment for Glenview Estates, Plat 2 in the city of Washington, Franklin County, Missouri. Holtmeyer.
Aye.
Reed.
Aye.
Bear.
Yes.
Patke.
Yes.
Wessels.
Aye.
Coulter.
Yes.
Heidrich.
Aye.
Briggs.
Yes.
By your vote, ordinance 7G passes. H has been tabled, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. 7I, please.
A resolution authorizing the city of Washington, Missouri to apply for funding through the East-West Gateway Council of Governments to provide for the East Fifth Street Capacity and ADA Improvements Project in the city of Washington, Franklin County, Missouri.
Bear.
Introduced by Bear.
So the next two ordinances here are for resolutions to apply for grant funding. That's 80/20, so the city portion will be 20% of those grants. The first one that we're going to talk about is STP, so I kind of got a list of what's going to be covered there. So it's Fifth Street from Willows Court to Old Highway 100. We're going to be resurfacing the pavement, restriping. So right now it's just 2 lanes, 1 in each direction. We're going to add a center turn lane so you can make left turn lanes, kind of a safer way to do that. Add a sidewalk on the west side all the way from Willows Court to Old Highway 100, connecting into the trailhead that we have down there now for the Bush Creek Trail. Sidewalk on the north side, extending from Old Highway 100 to the north entrance of the new multifamily development that's going in now, and then a crosswalk there at Old Highway 100. So you can kind of see this is the overview of the project there. And the turn lane, you can see the Bush Creek Trail there at the top by Old Highway 100 where the crosswalk's going to go. New sidewalks.
We've had a lot of discussion at the traffic committee over the
Been
last
getting
couple
down
months
there.
about the impact of that multifamily development that's located there on the east side of East Fifth Street. And so with these proposed changes, we think, like he said, the turn lane, I think, will be helpful for those 200 units that you've got there, as well as the commercial as you get further closer to Highway 100. The long-term goals for Fifth Street, or at least this portion of Fifth Street all the way to 47, is to continue possibly looking at a middle turn lane all the way up until you get to 47 to handle the amount of traffic that we have. That is your only truck route that you have in town that is on a city street. The rest of them are all on highways. But there is significant amount of traffic that uses that as a inner belt, if you will, to get to 47 and handle, and to travel north. So, but with this, I think, Charles, we did apply for
Yes.
something on Fifth Street, but it went all the way to,
International, so it was from Highway 100 to International. We weren't awarded that project last year. They basically told us our scope was too large. We asked for too much money. We needed to kind of bring that down a little bit. Don't go as far with the project,
so that's the reason why this is narrowed down to this application. This is based on input that we received, that Charles received from both MoDOT and East West Gateway.
Does the city have enough for that width?
For the
That
bridge?
new width?
Yeah, without having to widen the road, that's a 40-foot wide street there. And then the bridge is actually 50 foot. So
You would
it's-
limit, I mean, I don't think there's any limitations on parking on this portion of Fifth Street,
Yeah,
but
you would have
there
to-
is really essentially, nobody uses it for parking.
You would,
You would probably have to limit that then once you go ahead and put these improvements in place.
Correct.
Okay.
Other questions or discussion?
Does this still include the widening, extra lane up by 100?
So this was we already got awarded this CMAQ project, so this basically leads right into this. This project goes all the way from 100 to Willows Court, and then
Okay.
we'll take off. with
Same
this.
project?
Yeah, different projects, but it'll be a
Different
continuation.
grant.
Phase 2, essentially.
Okay.
Different set of improvements for that, so.
Important part's already approved.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, that's
Next
already,
important part is what we're going after, but we're going to go for smaller scope.
Oh, okay. All right. Thanks.
More questions, discussion?
I'll second Councilman Bear's motion.
it's a resolution, so.
Okay.
Got a motion and a second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. 7J, please.
A resolution authorizing the city of Washington, Missouri to apply for funding through the East-West Gateway Council of Governments to provide for the High Street and Highway 100 intersection improvement project in the city of Washington, Franklin County, Missouri.
Coulter beat me.
Introduced by Coulter.
I'm sorry, introduced by who?
Coulter.
Thank you.
So this is another grant application. This for a CMAQ grant. Again, would be a 20% city cost share for this project. So improving High Street and Highway 100 intersection for the new future development there to the south of High Street. So the improvements would include dual left turn lanes northbound to westbound from off High Street onto Highway 100, as well as a dedicated right turn lane. And then on the north side, southbound, adding 2 dual left turn lanes to eastbound 100. And then crosswalks, other ADA ramp improvements, those sort of things.
Questions?
When would that take place, Charles?
Construction would probably be 2029,
Thank you.
a couple years out.
That's why we have discussions about the half-cent transportation sales tax.
It doesn't have anything really to do with this, but right now, if you're headed westbound and you want to go left, there's not a green arrow there, right? After the changes we did there.
If you're going westbound, yeah, this will include that as well.
Okay.
Yes, sorry. That'd bring them all up to having at least the dedicated arrows. Correct.
That's been installed already,
The
right?
arrows do help, Charles. I know
Oh,
we
yeah.
looked
For
at
on
those
High
last
Street,
week, and those
yeah.
are noticeable, and they definitely a help,
Goodness.
especially if this is gonna be 4 years out.
Yeah,
They're
so that's
definitely-
kind of the stopgap here for a couple years till we can get this full build out here.
Yep, thank you.
Further discussion? Take a
Got
motion.
a second over there already, right?
Yeah.
Who was the vote, who was the nom?
First.
Coulter.
Second.
Coulter.
Sure, I'll be a second.
Second by Packey. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes, and before we go further, you guys, I added up the numbers of these last 2 grants that we're applying for. $4.2 million is the total cost of both the East Fifth Street capacity and the High Street and Highway 100. $4.2 million. We're gonna pay our share of $837,000. That's, and without a dedicated funding source of that transportation sales tax, you can forget about this. It wouldn't happen. And so, you know, it's just another 2 examples of us leveraging that tax, which we need to have approved in 2026. Even though it expires in 2030, if we're not doing this intersection here till 29, we have to have dedicated funding sources for anything that comes after that. Our budget is full until 2030. So that's how important this is. Thank you. Go ahead, Sherry.
Commission, committee, and board reports, Downtown Washington, Inc. Annual Report.
Good evening, council. Charles, do you want me to get the clicker, or are you just gonna do it for me?
I can hit it or whatever's easier.
You don't mind me?
Just let me know.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for having us tonight. In your packet, you'll have a year in review statistics page. It should be provided to you. Basically, I'm gonna have try to make it a quick presentation for you on our yearly statistics that we do each year for city council, and these are your statistics for 2024. So go ahead, Charles. Go ahead one more time. All right, so in '24, we had 9 new businesses that opened, with another 2 that moved into a new location. This is a lower amount that we've seen in the last 2 years. Last year, I think we had 19, and the year before we had 12. And the main reason being is our vacancy rate really remains low. Many of these businesses we were able to consult with, as well as the building owners, kind of helping them connect the dots and putting them in touch with prospective new businesses. I still expect to see continued growth into '25 with the movement of a few different businesses in the downtown district and some exciting projects that do lie ahead. Next slide. With the 9 new businesses that opened in '24, we gained 28 net new employees to our district. This number is gathered by polling each of the businesses, the newer businesses that had come into the district, and just simply asking them how many people they have full-time and part-time that they brought with them. Next. Really exciting stat here, there was over $8 million privately invested back into the downtown district over the past year. This number includes commercial and business improvements, as well as the residential improvements. These numbers are pulled from permit reports that I get each month and compile all the numbers. Residential permit numbers were up from last year to over 4.9 million, and commercial and business permits were also up quite a bit, with a little over $3 million. So for in comparison, in 22 there was roughly 5 million, and then in 23 there was a bit over 3 million. So we're up $5 million from 23 into 24. Okay. The next slide, there was over $800,000 in public improvements made by the City of Washington. So thank you all. This all included 2nd Street improvements, Lafayette Park improvements, riverfront and lot pavements, the Front Street sanitary improvements that we just recently had. Curb and sidewalk replacements, and some infrastructure improvements. This number is also up from 2023. In 23, we had $387,500. So we are up a good amount from that.
Tyler, will you real quick give us the rough boundaries of what you're defining as downtown?
Yeah, thank you. So typically what we have done in the past is we'll go north to Front Street, south to 5th Street, east to Market Street, and we include High Street. We go west to High Street, mainly to include the housing, because we do have a lot of the housing historical homes down there. Thank you. Depending on who you talk to, Mark, it's really going to depend on who defines what are the boundaries, because we have different historic districts and things like that too. We were able to attend quite a few trainings and webinars this past year, especially on historic preservation, which is a requirement for Washington Historic Preservation Commission, and it's also one of the requirements for the City of Washington to remain a certified local government. And having those was great to attend to. A lot of our board members get to learn a lot. This is just a list of the training courses that we attended. We maintain an agreement with all of our board of directors that they must attend at least one training per year to remain on our board, which shows their commitment to not only our organization, but also to the City of Washington. And I'm really proud to say that we did get to host one of the bigger ones this year here in Washington, the last one that you see on your list there, where we had over 150 people come from 2 to 3 days. I believe it was in November, and that spent time in our town. So it was really nice that we got to host that this year. Next one. These are some of the grants that we're successful in distributing to all different types of people, businesses, and building owners. We offer a $5,000 grant each year to our business members to tap into. So when they want to put on a collaborated event to bring people into the downtown district, we'll help pay for their advertising, and we'll help pay for their supplies that they need for putting on events. You may have heard of like the Where's Waldo event, or Find the Golden Ticket, or a cookie walk. A lot of the businesses are able to collaborate together and come together and put on those events, which is nice, and we help pay for that. We also offer $5,000 in our sign and awning grant. Our design committee really focuses on that. So if somebody within the district that is a member of Downtown Washington, Inc., we are able to pay for some signage, some of their new signage, and some of their new awnings. And that's also ran through our Historic Preservation Commission too, so we're able to really educate the public and our businesses and our building owners on what that all entails. One of our biggest success stories in 2024 was implementing our downtown art program that's run by our promotions committee. We set aside $5,000 for the promotions committee to go ahead and improve public art throughout the downtown district. This last year we did a mural on Birdie's Bake Shop that pays a lot of homage to the history of Washington. And the goal for our promotion committee, in conjunction with working with Wayne and the Parks Department, is to really continue and grow that program for public art downtown. We also rolled out a very successful program. You guys have heard me talk about this in years prior, is our downtown low interest loan program. This is where we set aside $50,000 for building owners, business owners, whoever, to tap into to help fix up their facades, put new windows in, make improvements to their buildings, spruce up their business, anything that they might need. But they go through a multiple step process of coming in front of our Historic Washington Foundation Board, getting approved there, and then also getting approved by the Washington Historic Preservation Commission, meeting all of those standards. Go ahead. We were again successful this year in holding events like our Art Fair and Wine Fest, our Barbecue and Blues Festival, and our Fall Festival, Parade of Lights, things like that, among others. We saw really, really good crowds, which you're going to see here in a second. We did hold, just within our organization, 27 days of community events. So that doesn't include anything like any of the other civic organizations do. Go ahead, Charles. And to give an idea on crowds, I know it's kind of hard to see here, but we had close to 26,000 people for the entire weekend of our Washington Barbecue and Blues Festival. We had roughly 26,000 people for our Art Fair and Wine Fest, and 28,000 people over the course of the weekend for the Fall Festival of the Arts and Crafts. And our holiday parade of lights was a little down this year. If you guys went, if you remember, it was awfully cold. We still had 11,700 people down there that day. And this chart that you see on the screen, this is the data that we purchased from a company called Placer AI that tracks cell phone data. And you can see the top 4 days in the downtown district last year were the 3 Saturdays from our big festivals, and then also the holiday parade of lights. Okay, next one. Last year, we started sharing our advertising effects and what that's had on the community. First, our social media presence has increased 7.4% with over 26,500 followers. This includes like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, X, things like that. We also continue to advertise across the state with our Invitation magazine. That's our big tourism piece that we have each year. We also put that out locally, but we send that out to all the Amtrak stations, rest areas across the state. We also continue doing local radio ads as well as various print ads in and outside of our community. Next one. We did put more of an emphasis on TV advertising this past year. We aired 5 different commercials throughout the year, 2 generic ones promoting the community, specifically the downtown region, but then we also promoted our 3 big festivals and holiday events within the community as well. This reached 8 different counties surrounding the area. Our commercials ran over 88 times and over 39 different networks. We're planning on doing the same spend and buy as we did this past year, because we did see we're able to correlate the traffic where we're advertising and seeing where those people are coming based on that Placer AI data. Okay. With our gift card program, we were able to keep an extra $68,000 in local spending with local businesses in 2024. We have over 90 businesses that are a part of this program. This is pretty well on par with what we did last year. I think we did about 68,300. So it's really, really close to what we did last year. But it's nice to be able to keep that extra spending and offer that to our businesses in our downtown district. Okay, next one. My favorite statistic to report on each year is our volunteer hours. Our organization is based solely on volunteers. As you can see, a lot of them are here tonight, so I appreciate them coming. We had over 9,400 volunteer hours this past year, which includes the Downtown Cleanup Day. Events like our Downtown Cleanup Day really help the City of Washington, the Parks Department, and the Street Department. We work in conjunction with them by helping them save on costs of labor, for maintenance, for upkeep. And overall, if you were to do the math on the volunteer hours, it would equate to about 13 months of continuous volunteerism around the clock, and that's just within our organization. So Mary, you talked about just people jumping in and getting involved earlier. This just through our organization, it's amazing what people can do in the City of Washington together. And lastly, we do truly appreciate the support of the City of Washington. Thank you all for approving the ordinance before I came up here and spoke. I agree. We might have to present next time before that, but thank you. I appreciate that. Whether that be on collaboration within economic development or use of event facilities or just the partnership in general, I know I can speak on behalf of my board of directors and myself and my staff that we do appreciate the support and the partnership that the city does provide for us. So thank you all. I'll answer any questions that you would like.
Tyler, will you introduce the rest of the folks here with you tonight?
Yeah, let's see who we have here tonight. I got all kinds of people. Well, Aaron, obviously, he's the economic development director, but he does sit on our board as a liaison, and I don't want to turn my back to Emily, but she does the same as the tourism director, so thank those two. Mr. Rick Hopp, he's the president of our Historic Washington Foundation. Russ Vollmer back here, he's a board member. Natalie Cash, she is our new president for Downtown Washington, Inc., so you'll be seeing her a little more often, as well as Holly Wunderlich, she is our new vice president for our organization. Caitlin Huber is a board member. I have Elizabeth Schatz. She's our secretary. Robbie Vosbrink is our treasurer. Maggie Hazy, she's back here. And Karen Marquardt, our outgoing president, but she's also, we're keeping her around. She's on the Historic Washington Foundation board. JB participates a lot too. So thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Tyler.
Need a motion to approve.
Well, that's right, we do need a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second. Motion by Patke, second by Briggs. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Hotel Convention Center feasibility study.
Right. I have a couple
I can
things
pass
for you
those out
guys.
for you if you like.
Take one down and pass it around.
That will work too,
That'll
either
work.
way.
You got it?
Did you want one?
No, I'm kidding.
I'll take that.
All right, I'm just going to go ahead and get started. I will try to keep it brief. Good evening. For those who do not know me, my name is Emily Underdown Hopkins. I am the Tourism Director for Washington. I have been tasked to present to you all the key findings of our most recent hotel/convention center feasibility study. Just for a little background, with growing interest for a new development, new hotel development in town, the city and tourism division decided that it was time to get an updated hotel feasibility study done. The most recent one before this was 2018, and we just felt like it's time for an update. So this study was conducted by a company called Destination Services. They are out of St. Charles, and it was completed in June of 2024. What I've given you is an extended summary. I know in your packet you had a summary broken down for 5 key points that was included within the feasibility study. I'm just going to give you a little bit of an extended summary from that. As well, in your packet that I just gave you is the hotel financial model, and that was provided to us from the company along with the actual study itself. You're more than welcome to look over those documents, ask questions at the end. I'll do my best to answer your questions, but I'm really more here just to provide to you the information that was given to us, so I was not behind the research of this project. But I'm happy to bring them to the company if you do have other questions I can't answer. For my presentation, I'll be expanding on the 5 points that I mentioned earlier in your original document. They are market demand, economic impact, proposed facility features, competitive positioning, and financial projection. I'll give a brief synopsis of what the study says in regards to each of those 5 points. And you can see with what I just gave you, I did pull excerpts out of the study and indicated page number. So I have emailed each of you the 155-page document. If you want to look through and see where I pulled that from, you're more than welcome to do that. Okay, so we can go ahead and get started with market demand. Basically what the study said was that due to Washington's location between several larger metropolitan areas, the city has an opportunity to attract travelers as they pass through by engaging them with unique attractions, a more robust restaurant scene, and potential events at downtown facilities. Washington also has the opportunity to capitalize on regional events such as weddings, because most surrounding markets do not have sufficient lodging or an appealing lodging experience for the modern traveler. It is estimated that the subject hotel, constructed with up to 100 rooms, would add 36,500 additional annual room nights to the competitive market. That is meaning it would benefit Washington as well as the surrounding region. Moving on to the economic impact. The traveler economic impact could be anywhere from $600 to $800 per room night, totaling anywhere between $14 and $16.5 million regionally on an annual basis of overall economic impact. So significant economic impact. It would also be expected that travelers to the area would exceed over 37,000 extra visitors than we currently see. Job creation is another important economic factor. The planned hotel is estimated to create between 50 and 75 full-time and part-time jobs, which I know Tyler talked about, adding in those net jobs to our downtown, but just citywide in general as well is always wonderful to see. It is estimated in many of the annual tourism reports that for every dollar spent on regional lodging, 3 to 4 times that amount is spent in and around the local community on retail, gas, travel, food and beverage, and other services as well. That is what I have for economic impact. We can move on to proposed facility features. The study recommended an 85 to 100 room hotel with amenities such as full-service restaurant, indoor and outdoor social spaces, and modern design elements. Based on market averages, the proposed hotel would recommend all breakout spaces as well as function and gathering areas to include the main meeting room with approximately 11,000 square feet of total meeting space, including the grand ballroom. Another option that the study mentioned that would be more affordable and could also directly impact regional demand would be a smaller event space than the one that I just previously mentioned. And that would end up equaling between 3 and 5,000 square feet, accommodating between 200 and 250 people. Bottom line, either option, whether it's the 11,000 square feet or the 3 to 5,000 square feet option, either one of those could be successful. It's more just up to the developer what risk they're willing to take and how long they are wanting to obviously see a profit on that. And then lastly, with the proposed facility features, the hotel should focus on offering modern amenities, contemporary design elements, and elevated service standards that could attract travelers seeking a higher quality lodging experience. You'll see that word a lot, experience. That was something that they really hit hard on in the study, was the modern traveler is not looking for a place to just put their head in a bed anymore. They are wanting an experiential process throughout while they're traveling, and particularly where they're staying. All right, key point number 4 is competitive positioning. As mentioned earlier, Washington is located between several larger metropolitan areas. So with that being said, Washington not only offers its own attractions to visitors, but is within close proximity to various attractions that we are all aware of, which are Purina Farms, Shaw Nature Reserve, regional winemakers, Merrimack Caverns, and Six Flags. All of that to say, Washington itself and nearby communities offer worthwhile attractions to visitors, and therefore it outlines the need for more hotel rooms. Adding hotel rooms that appeal to the modern traveler is an opportunity for Washington to be the hub or the place to stay for anyone traveling to the region. And then lastly is the financial projection. And the study outlines 3 performance indicators: inflated ratio to sales, revenue per available room, or RevPAR, and revenue per occupied room night, which is RevPOR. I don't plan to go into great detail about the financial projections. That's not necessarily my area of expertise. But you can see in your packet, I included the 10-year projection for the potential development. And that indicates that the revenue per available room will increase each year. In other words, the development will see increasing profit year over year as they pay off the development. All right. I went through that fairly quickly, intentionally, but I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Is there any talk of a parking structure?
A parking structure was not a main point that the company indicated in the study, so that would have to be a further discussion.
Probably going to be needed.
We're hearing that topic a lot come up, so.
Emily, what would be the next step in the process then?
Yeah, so we have seen several different developers interested in this development. The next step is really just who is going to start that. Both developers have this study in hand. They've done research, and I think at this point it's more just deciding where it's going to go, what it's going to look like, how many rooms it's going to hold, and in full transparency, with both developers that we know of being interested, I did go back to the company to get further clarification on whether we would be able to sustain both of those hotels if they decided to both do them. Obviously, we don't want to get too weighed down and then not be able to support either. So they did say that it would be better for both hotels to proceed as they planned instead of one adjusting for the other, meaning fewer rooms. It isn't necessarily in a hotel's best interest to do fewer rooms unless they are planning to operate it as a boutique hotel, which neither of these developers plan to do. So that is the most recent information that I have for you.
And the study was crucial in attracting those developers, I assume, correct?
Yes, I think the discussion to do the study started with one particular developer. They were kind of what brought it to our attention that they would like some more research done. And in order to keep it a fair playing field, we were originally going to do the study directly for that developer, and we changed that to be a city-wide investment for the study. So,
And I will mention, we've had, not only, Emily's mentioned 2, but we've had a third that's also looked at something out on the highway, Highway 100. So we haven't had any recent discussions with that developer, but they were aware of the fact that we had the study too. So that's another reason why we needed to go ahead and open it up.
Yeah.
But this
for all involved.
information is beneficial for that also.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For anyone.
It's not just for downtown, but it's
Correct.
for anywhere. Right.
Correct. Now, the recommendation of the company was to have it be within walking distance of
That is
downtown,
correct.
but yes, this study would work for anyone, any location.
Good job.
Thanks.
Yeah, well, thanks, Emily, for doing,
Yeah,
we wanted her
absolutely.
to go ahead and provide this because we knew the study was completed, and I told her, I said, even though the council didn't pay for this, I mean, they still would like to go ahead and see this because they're gonna have, the possibility of being approached by either one of those developers, or one of the three developers possibly. So it's good information to go ahead and have.
And obviously, this was condensed. I mentioned this earlier. I did email you guys the full study. So if you want to look through that and you have further questions, feel free to reach out to me.
I appreciate that. I looked at that. It's very informative. Thank you.
Wonderful. Happy to help. All right. Thank you all very much.
Thanks, Emily.
Preliminary plat approval, Du Bois Center, Plat 6.
So this is the preliminary plat here, approved by planning and zoning, or recommended by planning and zoning. Is splitting that lot down there at N Sports in half, so you can see the dashed line there, the red line there, splitting it into lot 4A and then lot 4B. It has private access drive right there along N Sports that you can see is kind of the hatched area up there, and then the black line is a private sewer lateral, and it's within an easement dedicated to lot 4B. Green is where the city sewer main ends, so those are kind of the highlighted things for that.
Questions, discussion?
Motion to accept in the minutes.
Second.
Motion by Bear, second by Patke to accept. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
An ordinance approving the final plat of Du Bois Center, Plat 6 in the city of Washington, Franklin County, Missouri.
Bear. Introduced by Bear. Further discussion, guys?
Do you have any idea are there any plans for it, or is this just future
They
possible?
said future, that way they can kind of sell the lot now, lot 4A, and then lot 4B in the future, maybe just like soccer fields or something.
The applicant's
Not
here,
much
if
you
you want
can
to
do
go
with the
ahead and
floodplain,
ask. I
but-
don't know if
Developer's
If
here.
you want to come up and speak on it, you can.
Yes, my name's Randy Kleinheider with N Sports Rec Center. Basically, we are in the process of selling the rec center down there, and the people wanted to have the other lot too, but we're just owner financing it right now, so we actually had to put a lot line in there in case something happens in the future. So that's where it's at. That's kind of what the plan was. They wanted to put an outdoor field in that spot down there where we can build it up a little bit for practice reasons.
Good enough.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Randy. Thanks, Randy. What are you gonna do with all your time now, Randy?
Said he's gonna crochet.
Let's see. Crochet.
Any other discussion before we do this? Second reading, Sherry.
An ordinance approving the final plat of Du Bois Center, Plat 6 in the city of Washington, Franklin County, Missouri. Holtmeyer?
Aye.
Reed?
Yes.
Bear?
Yes.
Patke?
Yes.
Wessels?
Aye.
Coulter?
Yes.
Hydrich?
Aye.
Briggs?
Yes.
Vote ordinance 8D passes.
Mayor's report?
February. First meeting is the same. It's on the first Monday in Feb, guys, but the middle one, due to President's Day holiday, will be held on Tuesday, February 18th. That's all I've got. Thank you.
City Administrator's report?
I do want, Tony stuck around, and we do have Keith from Waste Connections here. I know the last couple of weeks have been a challenge with regards to trash pickup, but I think we're all covered for the time being. And so I just wanted to have them available in case you had any questions or any comments with regards to that. They're here.
No, go ahead. Is he coming up or no?
No, I mean, unless you got
Oh, okay.
questions.
Go ahead, Mark.
He doesn't have a speech or anything for you.
Oh. I had one quick question for you, sir. So, obviously, we don't want 4 inches of ice every week, but when this happens, when something happens again, and even when there's snow on the ground and we have to cancel collections and or move it off, is there any way of accepting more cardboard or this or that? Maybe, I know you don't want your drivers to get out of the truck. I get it, but this, some people were 2 or 3 weeks since they'd had 3 weeks or 4 weeks since they had recycling.
Sure.
So they had an overabundance of stuff. Is there any way that we can allow or make some exceptions?
Yeah, and I don't think that should be a problem. Like you said, I've been about 15 years in this industry, and I don't know that I've seen this much of a mess as these last couple of weeks have been, really, just the way everything is hit, and now with the severely cold temperature, so anything out there it's turned into concrete. I mean, it's not going to melt or anything right now. So, yeah, I mean, we can definitely do that. I mean, all of our cities have had a big challenge in getting through all of this, and we're trying to do the best we can to navigate the streets and alleys everywhere in a safe manner. But yeah, we're running into that in a lot of places, and we're doing the best we can to just take extra on those types of things. So,
Because I know this last run, a lot of it was left. I've had a lot of people call me asking me, why wasn't this extra stuff taken? Well, it's supposed to be 1 can.
Sure,
So,
sure. And to your point now, if it's 2 weeks of that or 2 pickups of that, we're gonna have to realize it's gonna be more than that 1 can. So, I mean, we'll have to, and please feel free to communicate that to us if you've got anywhere that there is an abundance of it, where we could take a little time out of our way to get over there maybe, or, one of us can run out and pick it up for the driver. Or at least if there's an area that we couldn't get to that was neglected 1 week or something, that we get back down there and try to get everything picked up as we need to.
I know poor Tony gets beat up all the time, and he relates to you, so.
Sure.
Pretty tough, though.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, we can't get him down, but, thank you. That was one of the questions I had, just because that was one of the big factors.
Keith, I was wondering too, in situations like this, and albeit this was very bizarre, hopefully not something we'll see again in a while, but I was wondering, have you ever built anything into the contracts where if you are just unable to pick up like that for X number of days, then we will do such and such to try to, as he says, maybe an extra person has to ride along and get more of that stuff in. I don't know. I don't know if you've ever done that on a contractual basis, though.
Yeah, not necessarily usually contractually, just really like our initial goal is usually when that storm came through over the weekend, and we take off Monday. Now we've still got 5 work days. We can still run that Tuesday through Saturday. And then when it becomes a Tuesday, we didn't run any of our rural routes for that whole week, so that freed up some extra trucks. So we sort of snowballed all those trucks into our cities to give them extra help. So we thought, well, at that point, probably then it shouldn't be an issue Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday with extra help. Well, then when Friday's snow hit, that threw a wrench into it again. So that made it very, very challenging for us. But yeah, typically we don't put anything like that in contractually, because it's usually just sort of a all hands on deck to get done what we need to get done.
My thing most of the conversations that I had, the phone calls were, I can handle them myself. Look, they're trying, they missed this day, they missed that. It's just when it looked like, and I'm going to say, we just passed a new contract 3 weeks ago, or whatever the timeline was, and then Waste Connection says they're not going to pick up today, tomorrow, the next day, the next week. It was that, we just gave them a new contract, and now they're saying no. So my question, whenever it's not safe, you're not sending trucks. That's pretty safe statement, correct? I mean, if it snows a half inch, are they just going to say, no, they're not coming? But you're going to say it's on a safety issue, correct?
Yeah, and our plan on anything like that of a small accumulation and all is typically we can navigate that pretty well. And Fridays wasn't too bad in some areas, but of course that initial snow and the ice that came over the weekend was when we weren't gonna attempt in those situations. But yeah, it's always a challenge, because you got to make that call. communicate to our folks, communicate to the cities involved and any other customers involved. So it's never an easy decision, but we always feel we're better off to err on the side of safety, err on the side of have them put out a few fires later on things, but that way it keeps our folks safe, keeps your residents safe, that type of thing.
Good. Well, again, I think it's just the answer of, when are they going to not pick it up? And I think with our code red in the mapping system, that's helped out a lot. But to Councilman Hydrick's point, when we do get that, someone didn't get their pickup last week, there's got to be a forgiven there the following week that we're going to pick up an extra can or whatever, so.
Well, I also threw out an idea to Darren. I don't know if it's something we need to do, but in the case of didn't get it this week, didn't get it next week, do we have to have a snow route situation where maybe I got to bring my can out of the alley to the front street for that week?
Right.
So that we can all get everything done. And I don't know if that's something we have to come up with. And Darren, you're one of them that had trash.
Well,
in the
sure.
alley for
I
a
mean,
couple weeks. Tony's
and I will.
taking a beating from us to go pick it up, and he's doing a great job doing it. But
Yeah,
we need to have another way to get it. It
Some of the
can't just sit
alleyways and
open
stuff like
once.
that you normally pick up in, just, if we know or Tony knows and we take our trash cans to the front of the house or to the end of the block or whatever we gotta do to get rid of it, consolidate it if you have to, just in these extreme situations.
Sure. No, I think that's a great idea. Just a matter of then communicating on that. Like I know I talked to Tony this afternoon. I think at that point, he caught up to a couple of our guys. He had a whole pickup truck load. And even at that point, he could barely navigate with his truck and him getting out those alleys. So, I mean, it's just been a real challenge.
Yeah, it's terrible. I mean, you guys, they earn their money.
So what we talked about, Tony and I talked about, and Charles, was the fact of, since we've had contracted waste hauling, this is the biggest storm we've had since we did
Well, it's
that.
just an ugly storm. If it was
Right.
all been snow, it'd have been over with in a day.
Correct.
Yeah.
But one of the things that we could do better, that we talked about, was just making sure that those alleys that are public alleys where people have their trash, that we double check to make sure that we're covering those. Because typically they have not been bladed in the past. I will, because they're not a primary route. But if
Right.
you don't do it under these, and again, severe storms like what we had, this is the problem that you're going to face. And I will also reiterate that that's also an issue that we had probably, and you guys got the calls, are on these private streets where they rely on an HOA or something else to go ahead and provide that. If they don't provide adequate snow removal for that, then you are going to have that problem. They are going to have to go ahead and make arrangements, and we can come up with something like what Al's saying, where they can go ahead and bring it. And there was a case, Tony just brought it to my attention today, for example, I'll use them as an example. Catawba Place is a private drive up there off of West Main Street. Most of them decided they brought their trash up to West Main Street to go ahead and get it picked up. And that's how it got picked up. I mean, there was a couple exceptions that Tony said that they had, but under those extreme conditions, that may be what they have to go ahead and do.
Yeah.
And I hate, I know we have Turtle Creek. I know you've got, and every time you have one of those private developments where they've got a private street, I know this is extreme. We've only had it one time in 5 years, but that's a result of sometimes what you deal with when you accept those private streets. Is, that you're relying upon them, and where are they going to go ahead and how are they going to get their trash picked up? Either they bring it to some central facility that's closer to a public street that is going to get serviced, or they got to figure out a way to go ahead and do that if they're not going to, get those streets, bladed the way they should be. The other thing I just want to bring up is with your solid waste committee, we took a long, hard look with regards to all of the trash haulers. And one of the things that you're going to see in the new contract, or the new contract that starts this year, one, we'll have the ordinance with some of those changes that we're going to be having to do, that they're actual code changes. Charles has got that ready for you, and we'll have that for you at the first meeting in February. But keep in mind that under the new, I think if you get under these other situations where you're not getting your recycling picked up, or sometimes you don't have it 3 weeks because that's the way the calendar falls, you're going to have a 95-gallon recycling rather than a 64 or 65. So hopefully that takes in for that extra time, or if you get in these extreme situations, you got added,
Capacity.
more capacity for them to go ahead and do that, as well as trash too. So anyway. Yeah, I know, that's too much for
Mark's gonna live in his.
Yeah.
my solid ice ski lift right now. Bringing that 65 gallon down one was,
You'll be
that
all
was an
right.
adventure.
You'll be all right.
I just figured Joyce,
We made
would,
it.
Joyce
You want-
would put you in there and just push you down the driveway.
You want it picked up or not?
That's right.
There you go.
And we really want to extend a thanks to the city because with a lot of the city contracts that we had, and I get it, you know, sometimes those side streets, those alleys, even today are in tough shape. But overall, Washington, honestly, I'm telling you this, you guys had the best main streets the first day when we hit the streets on that Wednesday. You know, there were still a lot of other cities that had their main streets were in horrible shape. You guys had done a great job on all that, so I just want to thank you for that.
Heard that many
Job,
times.
Tony.
But nice to hear it from somebody who knows what they're talking.
Sure.
Yeah. One question, on the recyclables that you guys pick up, what's an average you may have to reject? You know what I'm saying? You got a load and you open it up and they find out, now, man, contaminated. What do you say? I mean, do we do a good job or?
You do out here. Yeah, Washington does do a good job. Some cities, it is not very good, so sometimes it can be as much as a whole load or part of the load at least that they have to push to the side and then have that landfilled. And I don't have a necessarily a
Well,
specific
that's okay.
amount.
Nice to know we do a good job.
And I think it's an ever improving thing as more people get engaged. I mean, honestly, in some towns, it becomes a second garbage can for them, which is unfortunate, but you guys have always done a good job on it.
And I know Tony does a great job of following up with some of those if he sees that, you know.
Yes,
letting
I know
them-
that.
Letting
Yes.
them know.
Do you still get a report, Tony, on those? I know last year we got a report that said this address had this in it, and so I couldn't take it, those types of things. We still get that too.
Anything else? Any other questions or concerns?
Turn him loose.
Thanks for
coming.
Thanks for sticking.
All right,
Yeah.
thanks, everyone.
Council, I do want to remind everybody, if your residents call about cardboard boxes and a little bit too much recycling, we have a wonderful recycle center. We take cardboard and we sell it. So please, ask them to bring their cardboard down to us. And they can bag up a little extra recycle. They can always bring it down there and dump it in our bins also. All right.
Good point.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tony.
Thanks, Tony.
I've told a few of those,
That's all I
Council
have.
comments?
I have something just real quick. This was brought to my attention about for 26, about a Lakeview project, a potential funded by the capital sales improvement tax. If this, is this still on track for 26 for a vote?
Well, I'll describe the process. I think I'm going to try to answer that question. We've, in the past, historically, you have had a capital improvement sales tax committee that the mayor looks to go ahead and put together. We've already had those discussions and discussed that. And they typically would start to get together to meet in the summer to go ahead and look at the projects and come up with their recommendation by the fall so that you as a council can go ahead and determine whether or not you would like to go ahead and renew the tax, because you have to vote on that by ordinance in December in order to get that on the ballot for April of 2026. We are looking at that. We're also looking at the transportation sales tax, as the mayor alluded to earlier in his comments about our transportation. We've already had one meeting with the chamber. We plan to have a second meeting with the chamber, or the full board. Jennifer and I are trying to get that scheduled. But possibly combining these committees in one for both issues, both the transportation sales tax and the capital improvement. Back to your question with regards to Lakeview Fields, we've talked to several, Wayne and I have talked, and part of his Parks Master Plan, as I told you that the timing on this we felt was very good, because during this process, we've got another meeting on the 30th of this month where people can go ahead and provide their input and they can go ahead, they're going to have those projects all listed. We'll have community input, they can prioritize those, and it's going to be very easy, I think, for that committee to go ahead and rate those projects and figure out what we need to dedicate towards them. So that's one of them. Lakeview is, we've had some discussions with them, with the Washington Youth Sports Association. We know that they want to do some improvements there, but they're one of probably 12 different projects, or I'm just throwing out a number that you have within your park system.
And if that goes through, When would the committee be formed for that?
We're looking at forming the committee now, I think then, but they actually probably, I think it'd be a little too early to meet until at least the park master plan is completed, which I think is supposed to be in April or May, correct? April, thank you. And then I have also going to be asking our emergency responders to go ahead and come up with their needs list too, because that's another part of what that capital improvement sales tax supports. So they're gonna have to start looking at what their needs are going to be. I know Tim's already looked at that. I haven't talked to Chief individually about it. I mean, we did the radio system, we did improvements to our 911 system. All of those things are things that we take into consideration.
And they also want to know, will there be any public input, which I guess would be January 30th?
There'll be all kinds of public input in
Yes.
January.
January
I would
30th.
start with January 30th, that's correct.
Thank you.
And when we know that that time is, it was 2 different times on 2 different flyers. It's 5 or 5:30 start?
5.
5 o'clock?
It starts at 5, the presentation will start at 5:30.
Okay, all right.
And I can send out the flyer again tonight. It's already been sent to y'all once, and I did send it to all the organizations, including Washington Youth Sports.
Yeah, they were one of the interest groups that we
Yeah, we
solicited
met-
with directly.
Met with them this summer during
I
state.
mean, you're gonna have them, you're gonna have the soccer association, you're gonna have, other entities that gonna wanna provide input.
Can we put that in our app too, if it's not already on there?
In our app, you mean for Aptigee, your app that you have?
I think it's
Yes.
already been posted.
I think
Already
that's
on
already
there.
been posted to it, yeah. I thought it was when I saw it earlier today.
Just making sure.
I also like to thank all the city employees. Since the first of the year, it's been real trying with the storm and now the fire and the temperatures outside. I think our city does a fantastic job on dealing with everything that we've been dealt with for the first of the year. So I'd like to appreciate everybody in the city.
And with these temperatures, the water department, water lines coming up soon too, so, yeah, it's challenging for everyone.
Anybody else? Okay.
Already torn up,
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
turned up.
Motion by Packey, second by Coulter to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. I should have my shit together.
That's your first vote?
No, no, actually, Mark, the first vote ever was,
No, it was about,
on the first meeting with,
committee assignments.
some committee assignment.
It might have been your first meeting.
Was the
But
first.
first one on an ordinance.
Oh, yeah, you voted against me. I remember
Nice
that.
coat.
What are you looking at
Damn
me for? I don't
right.
vote. I'm looking right at him. Hey, thanks, Mark, for bringing up that sore subject.
Hey, did you guys play tonight?
Damn it, Doug's always against me.
No, I apologize. I didn't get a chance to tell you.